Hey guys, what's up? It's Dragoon here. I am here with KeeroGames. You may know him from the channel already from our Games Being Dudes Let's Plays. What is going on today?
Nothing much, just playing some Xenoblade all the time.
Yeah, best game ever. So we're here to bring you guys a bit of a discussion on the game now that it has been out for just a bit over a month now. I picked up the game at launch, and when did you pick up the game?
I got it for Christmas.
So ironically, we've got two different sort of timelines here, but you're
Yeah,
actually
but
further in the game than I am now. So
yeah, that's because I spent like all my time playing it. Like I played Xenoblade or however you say it, like almost solely. Like I didn't play anything else except for maybe a little bit of like Tales of Zestiria. But yeah, all my focus and attention has been on Xenoblade right now.
yeah, see, I just spend all my time running around Mira and exploring, so I'm only on like chapter two, and I've been playing for like 50 hours.
Oh
Except
my gosh,
not
no.
really, not really. All right, so
I
we're
should
just gonna give
also
it.
we should
Oh, go
also
ahead.
say that I've played the original Xenoblade and
Yes, and I've only played the original for like 20
for like two
minutes.
seconds, yeah. And I say that the original is the best of the best RPG of that console generation. I love it so much. I just had so much fun with it. So if
You
I
think it's
make
better than all the
then
others on the PS3 and the Xbox 360?
I do, yeah.
All right.
Some games are close. Like I know you didn't like Nino Kuni that much, but I
No,
like that one a
F that
lot.
game.
And Tales of Xillia, or well, I don't even know how to pronounce these stupid
Exilia.
names. Yeah, that was really good too. I love that one a lot too. But I
Yeah,
still
those
think
those.
I like Xenoblade or I'm gonna call it Xenoblade.
I think it's Xenoblade.
Yeah, but I don't know. I think that sounds dumb. I,
Well, I think you sound dumb.
oh, okay. Um, I don't know. I'll probably switch between the two. But anyway, I think the original was the best game of the Wii, PS3, and Xbox. So I have a lot of strong opinions about the game. I'm gonna try not to compare the two that much, unless it's just like really obvious. Like maybe for
Hmm.
the story and characters part, because they're really different.
Right,
So
right. All right, so let's talk first about kind of our expectations going into the game. I think that's a decent place to start. As for me, since I only did play the original Xenoblade for Wii, only for such a little amount of time, I actually didn't have a whole lot of expectations for the game. I remember the original trailer. The game looked very ambitious, and then they put Shulk at the end, which made no sense at all because
yeah,
he's not even in the game, and nor does it have anything to do with him.
yeah. Well, maybe. So we have none of us have beat the game yet. So I'm on
Yeah,
the
so I mean,
final
I guess there's a
chapter.
small chance.
So
So
maybe.
let's put a bit of an aside real fast just to talk about that because it's only something very small. So I already know in Xenoblade's story a little bit of it. Like Shulk becomes a god at the end, right?
Oh my gosh, spoilers, dude. Like major spoilers.
Well, come on. I mean, that game is freaking old now.
Okay, yeah, well, he's given the opportunity to become one, but he rejects it. But he does use his newfound power to recreate the world. So he's
Right.
able to turn his girlfriend, like she was turned into a robot somehow, and then he turned her back. And
Okay.
like I mean, they weren't that. I don't. It's been like 2 years since I played it, and it's kind of one of those like confusing kind of moments, or they're not exactly clear about what's going on. But all you need to know
Hmm.
is that he basically recreated the world, and everything's all happy now and stuff. So
Yeah. Which leads me to to the point I was thinking. There are some people who believe that the Earth in X is the world Shulk recreated, but then the aliens came and just blew it up. So
oh, that sucks. Well, uh, because another plot point in the original game was that the final boss or whatever, he destroyed his own world originally, which they were making it out to be like the real world. Some science experiment or something destroyed it, and it caused him and I think his wife or girlfriend or something. Man, this sounds really stupid, but it caused them to become deities of the new world, and maybe I forget it. Maybe they recreated it a bunch of times, or maybe just the one time. But like the one of the twists was that the world was destroyed beforehand,
Hmm.
the end of the game is Shulk does it again. So maybe that's going to be a theme throughout the series if we get more games. I don't know.
Yeah, well, there are some people who believed, because you and I have not finished the game, but we won't talk about the final boss. But some people did believe at the time that Shulk was going to be, his new omnipowerful form would be
Oh
like
yeah.
the final boss in X.
Well, that would have
And we
made
won't
sense.
say whether he is or is not, but that would have made sense, I think, right?
Well, kind of, because he rejected godhood. So
Yeah,
I mean, maybe he still has power dormant in him. I don't know,
yeah.
but
So that was just something I remember people talking about
yeah,
back when that original trailer came out. So, but anyway, that was something just real fast. I think it only took a couple minutes.
yeah.
What? So I personally didn't have a whole lot of expectations. In fact, I only really saw that first trailer, but I just bought the game because I imagined it'd be as good as the original one, in which everyone, including you yourself, raved about that game.
Oh, I love it so much. Yeah,
So
and
what did you have coming into the game? What were you expecting and wanting out of it?
I try to stay away from trailers because I didn't want to get spoiled on anything, because apparently Nintendo did upload a trailer that had a spoiler in it, which
Yeah, and it freaking sucks because I saw it after starting X because I wanted to
you mean
show
it's
my
called
uncle a
wait, it's
trailer.
called Cross, not X.
Yeah, I know. All right,
I know,
I know.
Xenoblade Cross. We can't even get the name right, but I know
It's
what you
it's
mean. Yeah.
cross, but yeah, whatever. So I wanted to show my uncle a trailer for the game because he was interested in it, and then I'm watching this trailer with him, and there's this massive spoiler, at which I'm like, "What, Nintendo? What are you
Ah.
thinking?" And I was so ticked off.
Yeah, I did not watch that trailer. I didn't watch any trailers after I heard that happened. So, but but I did research people's opinions on the game beforehand, like people who really loved the first game, and I already heard that the story wasn't on par with the first game. So, which I mean, it's a
Mm,
little bit disappointing, but I already knew they were really focusing on the gameplay and exploration in this game. So, I kind of my expectations were fun gameplay. I'm not gonna have as high expectations for the story, so um, I came into the game knowing this is gonna be something I'm gonna spend a lot of time on, not to get invested in the characters, but to explore the world. So
hmm
that's
Yeah, I
pretty.
kind of had a similar idea once I knew more about the game. I knew it was a very large open world style game.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but with that being said, as far as we were talking about the story, we won't get into any specifics. But for me, in an RPG like Xenoblade, the story and the characters is such a huge aspect
Oh yeah,
because
I know.
when you really boil it down, the gameplay for those types of games is at the very, very base of the core. It's extremely, extremely repetitive because
Oh
you're
yeah.
constantly doing the exact same things, the same
Yeah,
fights, but it's
over
the
and over
battle
again.
system and the story and the characters that really keeps the player invested.
Right.
And
I mean,
that's why certain RPGs, at least Japanese style, are successful and others are not, as far
yeah.
as I'm concerned.
I mean, going into the story for this game with really low expectations, I actually was surprised at some of the things. Like, I mean, spoiler alert, obviously, for those who haven't played the game yet. I was surprised when it was revealed that everybody's a robot or a mim. Like, I did
Yeah, that
not,
was
I
like,
didn't, yeah, I didn't expect that at all. I was like, whoa, okay, I didn't,
well, at first you're like, okay, wait, the Avatar's a robot, and they're like, no,
yeah,
everybody is.
yeah.
Lols.
um, so that definitely took me by surprise. And then one of the chapters, I think it was chapter 8.
hmm
I thought it had really good animations in the cutscenes, and that reminded me a lot of the first game, because
hmm
that first game had really good cutscenes. There was one scene where Shulk learns his speed ability, and he's running around all over the place, cutting off the tentacles of this robot, trying to save this kid, and he gives it to his friend Ryan, and they're running around. It was really cool. Um, and so to see that in the game, I was happy. It was like, hey, this is something I remember from the first game. So I like that a lot.
Man, let's just talk about those cutscenes. Half of the time, they're those nice, well-produced cutscenes, and the
Yeah,
other
and the
half
other
is just the
time,
characters sitting
I
around
know.
static,
Yeah, and
doing nothing.
that's definitely one of my top complaints about the game for sure, because that's so boring to watch, and especially
Like,
because in the story cutscenes where it's like that, it's only
mm-hmm.
Elma and Lynn and somebody else talking, because the Avatar never says anything.
Except he's a freaking chatty Cathy in battle who doesn't shut up.
See, I don't mind that much because I have it set to Shulk's voice, so I'm used to it already. And he says, "I'm really
I'm really
feeling it all
feeling
the
it.
time." Yeah, so I'm fine with that. But in the cutscenes, he's just like, "Oh, whatever. I'm just gonna stand here and do nothing." And then,
I know, he doesn't do
and
anything.
then in the fourth party member, it just won't say anything either because they don't matter, you know. And
Mm-hmm.
I hate that. I hate that so much. I want to have a fourth party member that's participating, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's probably that goes to my first complaint about the game, is that I do like the characters like Lynn and Elma, and I mean I've heard people complain about Tatsu, but I don't find him that annoying. I mean there's some
Mm-hmm.
times where he's annoying, but I don't. I mean he's okay. But
The thing
everybody
that's
else,
annoying about Tatsu is the other characters' interactions with him. When you boil Tatsu down, he is just a kind-hearted nopon.
yeah,
But everyone else, like, they just constantly have to joke about him being eaten, and it's just
yeah.
so stupid.
I mean, for that point, like in the first game, you have Riki or Riki. I don't know how to say anything.
Clearly.
And the Rhine, which is Shulk's friend, he called him furball like every other sentence, and I'm not even kidding. Like,
yeah.
you complain about the food thing for Tatsu, like the furball thing, I thought was way worse. So it's like, oh my gosh, just shut up. We get it, but going back to the characters, it's like, so you have the those three important ones because the Avatar doesn't really matter, and everybody else, like you talk to Gwen, Irina, and Doug one time, and then like half an hour later, it's like they are your party members now. It's like I barely know them. Who are these people?
Yeah, I know. And then it's so stupid whenever, like, okay, so your fourth party member is optional, so you can just pick whoever you want whenever you want. And you go up to them and they're like, "Oh, hey, you're the new guy," even though you've been like doing missions with them the whole game. I'm like,
Yeah, I know.
"Come on."
Uh, yeah, I mean, right now, since I'm trying to grind for a level 50 Skell, I put them all in my party so I could do all their affinity missions. And those do give you more insight to the characters, but it's like, why can't this be part of the main story, you know? Like,
Yeah, like I'm kind of on the fence about that. I like how some of the affinity missions are optional. Or
yeah.
I should say a majority of them are. There's only a handful that are forced in order to continue with the story.
Right.
So it's kind of like you can experience the story without some of the stuff that you might not care about, but at the same time, like the story is kind of bare bones.
Yeah.
And the affinity missions are really all you have to flesh it out.
Mm-hmm. And it doesn't help that growing affinity that just takes forever, you know? I mean, it took forever in the first game too, but you always had party members with you. So if you're like, I feel like getting affinity for this person today, then you just switch them out. You don't have to freaking run to their stupid area in the city and then go talk to them and then recruit them, and you have to do that one at a time for each person. Like, oh my gosh, it's so annoying.
Yeah. So, with that being said, let's talk about the gameplay, the combat, and the exploration of the environment. The combat, like I said, when I talked about before, that there were three of the main things that keep an RPG going are the story, the characters, and the combat. The combat in Xenoblade is excellent.
Oh, I love it.
It's extremely, extremely reactive.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if the first game was like this or if that was something new they added into this one. But if you're not already aware, your party members will constantly say certain prompts, which will give you the opportunity. It's a timed opportunity in order to use a special attack, and it'll give you a damage boost and it'll heal you.
Yeah.
And with that constantly being active in every single battle, it allows for for me, it allows for like I said before, a more reactive experience, but also a more immersive experience, because when you think about it, if you're actually in that situation, you're going to be working with your teammates. It's not just going to be everyone lone wolfing it.
Mm-hmm. like, okay, compared to the first game, like that's the actual, because they're called soul voices, I think, in Cross.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
that's what it was called.
like that they didn't really exist in the first game, but the characters still, were constantly talking. And so,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you really wanted to be as tactical as you could, you would try to listen to their phrases, and use your arts accordingly.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I mean, what am I trying to say here? I mean, the soul voices thing are cool, except I don't really like how your healing is dependent on them.
Oh
I
my
wish,
gosh, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
that like I love the combat in Cross. I think it's definitely a step up, except for the healing thing because I like to
The
have a
healing is
dedicated healer.
ridiculous.
Yeah, I don't want to have to count on the game randomly deciding, okay, here's a chance for you to heal, and if you're not paying attention, you'll miss it, or you'll press B too early, and then you miss
Oh,
it.
it's so stupid because there are
Yeah.
sometimes when the little B QuickTime event comes up on the screen, and I'll hit because the buttons on the Wii U controller are so close together,
Oh
the A
yeah.
B X Y. I'll hit
Hmm.
like Y by accident sometimes if I'm really like in the thick of a tough battle.
Hmm.
Sometimes I'll hit the wrong one, or sometimes it goes by in like a second, and other times it's really slow,
Oh yeah.
and I
Okay. The B thing, it did exist in the first game, but it wasn't for
yeah.
healing. It was for like, oh man, I'm actually not really sure what it was for. It was more like for morale, I think. And
Yeah, yeah. Because I
or
think it does the same thing in this game as well as healing.
yeah,
It adds the morale.
and maybe for the final boss or maybe for the whole game, I don't remember. It was also for Shulk's future vision, which was
Hmm.
important if you're playing as Shulk, or maybe if you're not, because I only played as Shulk. I never tried anybody else. Um,
Yeah.
uh, so yeah, the B thing, but in Cross, like it's still there, and I kind of like how they like in the original game, it was just you either get it or you don't. But in Cross, it has the perfect circle and the good circle, which is different,
Hmm.
and I kind of like that better. But I, like you said, there's sometimes where it just goes so fast, and there's no way you'll be able to react in time unless you're just waiting for it,
And there will be some times in which I'm fighting and I won't want to use my arts because I'm like, oh, wait, what if one of my teammates says, quick, use a melee attack, and I already used all my melee attacks or
Yeah,
something like that, and now I can't heal. If I think there would be no issues in this regard if you could have healing arts and or healing
yeah.
items,
I mean,
but you
um,
don't.
some characters do have healing arts, I think.
Yeah, Irina does.
Yeah. But I mean, I'd rather have somebody who's a dedicated healer. Like there was a
Yeah.
character in the first game that's your healer. If I mean, there were some other characters that could heal too, but she all of her arts were for healing the party or herself or other people and debuffing and all that stuff. So I like that better. I think it's more safe um in terms of if you want to go fight a hard battle. But
Hmm.
other than that, I think the combat in Xenoblade Cross is just great. I like the thing that's new for Cross is it has that green circle around the arts. I think that's
Yeah, I like
awesome.
that.
Yeah, that's
Uh
awesome.
huh. It gives you just a little more, a little. It adds just a tiny bit of depth to the combat, just to give it a
Hmm.
little added flair. I think.
Yeah. One thing I'm
And
not too
so,
sure about though is the guns. I mean, I don't use guns. I mean, I have them
oh,
equipped.
I interchange my guns and my swords all the time.
See, all my arts I have dedicated to melee. So, and
Yeah,
I'm able to I'm on the final chapter. I was able to go through the whole game without using guns, and I'm really not sure what they're used for.
I really like using them. So I guess that just comes down to player preference. Because I
Yeah.
think it's totally doable that you could play the whole game using only guns
Mhm.
and not melee or a combination of both.
Yeah.
So I guess
What
I'm always of opinion that I'd rather have the option to
yeah.
use it and then choose not to, rather
I
than it not be there at all.
Well, and I guess it's because I played the first game. Like the
Yeah,
dual
yeah.
blades are a lot like Shulk in the first game
Mm-hmm.
because Shulk was all about hitting on the side or hitting through the or hitting from the back, and you also learn an art that decreases his aggro, which you also learn in Cross too. So
Yeah.
that's why I like that a lot. So I pretty much made my main character exactly like Shulk because that's how I know how to play as already.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, there's really no reason for you to try too hard to change that.
Yeah.
So talking about the combat, moving on to the the biggest thing Nintendo touted was the exploration of the world. The biggest thing they touted, and as well as a lot of the major fans of the game.
Yeah.
Um, so Mira is one of the largest open world areas in a video game of this generation. It's bigger than the open world in Fallout 4. It's bigger than the one in The Witcher, and
Oh
it's
wow.
bigger in. I think it's bigger than one of the ones in Grand Theft Auto. I can't remember because somebody did
Wow.
a comparison, and it was larger than all of those open worlds.
Gee whiz. See, I don't play a lot of open world games. I mean, I play some, but I mean, it's not really my thing. But I still have fun with the ones that I do play. I'm just not an expert on it.
Mhm. The question is here though, and I have never played Witcher, but I have played Grand Theft Auto and Fallout in the past. Not the new ones, of course, but I have played just games in those series.
Hmm.
Mira is huge. And yes, it's fun to look around and find new areas of the game world, because there's 5 continents, and you won't even get to the fourth and fifth one until you're at least 30 hours into the game.
Oh yeah.
It's ridiculous. You will not go to those areas. Um, but there's like nothing to do in the world because you have only one city, which is New LA, and so you have the
Yeah.
option of exploring and fighting monsters,
See, I
and that's
never.
it.
Wow, I never thought of it that way. I never thought about there only being one city. Yeah, that's a little bit
Hmm.
disappointing. Um, let me just explain something about the first game. There is exploration, but the game's still kind of linear in a way that you always know where to go. And because like,
Hmm.
because you know the setting, right? It's about like the two robots or the two
Yeah, I
giant
know.
things, and you start on the bottom of one, and you want to get to the top of the other one. So you have to, pretty much. I mean, that's
Hmm.
that's a very bare, basic explanation of the setting of the game. But anyway, you can still explore all the areas that you go into. Like when I first got to Gower Plains, which is like the area of the whole game.
Yeah.
Um, I was really overwhelmed by how gigantic it was, especially for a Wii game. Like I don't know, that whole game is just fantastic for the hardware that it's on. But anyway, um, you can explore if you want to, but
Hmm.
and but there's still towns if you want to go explore those. I mean, there's not that many, but there's still areas with people to talk to, and I mean, I definitely prefer that over just a giant open world.
Right.
Um, I mean,
Well, going off with. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
like I was gonna compare Cross to an MMO, like World of Warcraft.
Yeah.
Um, because that Cross Xenoblade Cross, and even the first one is a lot like that. And like I wouldn't be surprised if Nintendo in the future or the far future decides they want to make an MMO and it's based off this series because everything's
I
there.
Yeah, I wouldn't either. Even the combat is similar to MMOs.
Oh yeah,
However, I would have to argue in the sense that an MMO has so much more to do.
yeah.
There's so
And
many more
that's
meaningful quests and
mm-hmm,
meaningful areas to visit with
yeah.
NPCs who actually matter.
Mm-hmm. Oh man,
Whereas
that
in this
actually.
game,
Mhm.
none of them matter.
Yeah, like it actually reminds me a lot of Lightning Returns. I know you
Mm,
didn't play that game, but
no, I
because
did.
everything like all your stats and stuff are based on how many side quests you do. And at first,
Ew.
yeah, because like you finish a quest and then it's like plus 100 HP or something. It's really weird. But at first I was like, okay, but like every single quest, Lightning decides to have this freaking long conversation with all the characters, and you have to hear everybody's life story. And it's like
Oh yeah, yeah.
when I
You
was
don't
getting
need
near the
that.
end of the game, I was like, okay, no. I started just skipping it all because it's like I don't care. I just want to finish. Why? Just get on with it. And some of the
Hmm.
stuff in Cross reminds me of that. It's like, oh, I don't care about your sob
Oh
story.
yeah,
I
I
just want
know.
to finish this quest.
And there are like so many really stupid quests. Like, oh man, I need parts for my car. That was literally a quest. I was like, are you serious?
Go to the freaking
And
store
then,
yourself.
yeah, I know. And it's really, I don't like the main quests and the affinity missions are fine, but all the other side quests are just extremely bland and generic.
Oh, yeah, okay. I'll talk about genericness later, but there were some quests I enjoyed. um I don't know. There's really a few of them. Like there was one where this girl was like, "Oh my gosh, these people at my work are having a party, and
What?
I wasn't invited. Can you go there and make fun of them or something?" I don't even remember. So then you go there, but it turns out everybody was eaten, and you know what I mean. So it kind of turned
Yeah.
into like a horror story, and I was like, okay, that's interesting.
Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah,
I didn't see that one.
there are some quests that are like that where I'll do them, and it's like, okay, I mean that's interesting, I guess, but then oh, I'll tell you why. I don't get the same feeling. Like I don't care for these characters or whatever. It's because or the NPCs. It's because it's not voice acted. You know, it's
Oh yeah, I
so.
know.
I mean, I understand that it's a lot of NPCs and there's a lot of quests out there, but when you have to sit there and just go through text box after text box, it just gets so annoying. You
Well,
know.
not to mention that I'm pretty sure almost none of the NPCs have names.
I mean, I
So
think
they're
they
only they're only
do,
a handful.
but
Maybe they
yeah.
do, but like I don't remember any of them besides like the ones you can put in your team.
Mm-hmm. Like,
So I don't know.
I
I
mean,
guess yeah. Like,
because like going back to the first game, it's very story driven. I mean, you can still explore or whatever, but it's an 80-hour game, I would say, and the whole time is story.
yeah.
There's hardly like, and that means almost everything that matters is voice acted. And since there's a lot of things that matter, so there's a lot of voice acting. So, and that I mean, not that I can't play games that are text box only, but I don't know, when the characters are just standing there in the same pose over and over and over again, like we
Oh
talked
yeah, you
about
just have to
earlier.
read their text.
Yeah, it's like, okay, this is getting
It's
kind
just
of
kind of
annoying.
boring.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's so, and the one thing too with the world of Xenoblade Cross is that when you are exploring Mira, you're at the beginning of the game. It kind of sucks because you'll just be running around, and
Yeah.
then all of a sudden you find level 30 or 40 monsters, and they will attack you, and you're like, "What?
Yeah, I
I'm only
know.
like level 10," and then
I
you just get
actually
killed.
I know. I actually made a comment on Reddit before, and I got really downvoted for saying this, but I'm gonna say it here anyway. Um, that's back to the first game. I say that a lot because I mean,
Yeah, what
it.
happened to? I'm not gonna compare this to the first
I
game.
mean, it's hard because this is a somewhat new IP for Nintendo. That's kind of big for them, you know. Like usually their IPs don't really hit off.
Yeah.
But they had Splatoon, and then they have Xenoblade, and those are two really
Hmm.
big ones. So to have a sequel to a game that's just like all around praise, like it has it, there's a lot of expectations for it, you know. And
Hmm.
one of the things I'm a little bit disappointed that they did is that they just changed the formula so drastically. You know, they made it instead of being a story-driven game, it's now exploration MMO based, which isn't a bad thing, but this is only the second game in the series. There was nothing leading up to this. It's just like, bam, here's a new game, you know?
Yeah,
So,
it seems like a large departure from the first game
yeah,
in terms of main direction. It seems like
right.
a lot of the same attributes still exist between the
Yeah,
two games, but one in each game, the exploration is the biggest part in Cross, whereas the story was the biggest part in Chronicles.
yeah. And the thing is, the story in Chronicles is just like, it's like really good. Like, it's one of the best stories I've seen because there's just so many twists I didn't expect. So, to see a dip in that, or just to see a change in that, in only the second game of the series, is a little bit disappointing. Like, I don't know. Maybe
Yeah,
people were upset
there's
with Mario 2 back on the NES, which I mean, it wasn't really Mario 2, but for the United States at least, it was so different. Maybe I don't know. People got upset over that, but I don't know. I feel like they should have made a more stable, I don't know, a more basic series first. Of I mean, if I say that, but everybody be like, "Oh, you want the same thing every time? That's so boring." But I don't. I mean, I don't. I'm not saying I want that, but they should have
I
had
think you're
a more standard. You know, like like a couple more games that kind of let people know what the series is going to be about. You know what I mean?
yeah, I think you're saying you kind of wanted it to be a little less plastic in the sense that they're the groundwork was more stable between the two games.
Yeah.
So they don't feel as disconnected. In some,
Right.
like I feel like Cross maybe wouldn't leave you feeling that way if it was actually connected to the first game with the story. But as far
Yeah.
as we know, it isn't. It has nothing to do with the original game,
Watch me
as
beat
far
the
as we
game.
know.
Watch me
Yeah,
beat
watch
the
me
game.
beat
And there's
the
like a
game.
huge connection, and everybody's like, "Wow, you guys are morons."
You guys are so stupid. You clearly haven't played the game. What game were you playing anyway?
Yeah. Um, I totally forgot what my point was, where I was going with that. Yeah, I don't remember at all. But
That's all right. That's
that's
all right.
basically my whole feeling about the whole game. It's still a good game. I still enjoy playing it. Compared to the first game, I am disappointed a little because it's so different, and it is filled with a little just tiny flaws that weren't apparent in the first game, like especially the stupid go find your party members in New LA and talk to them and do that one at a time for each one. Like I hate that so much. It's so
Oh yeah,
annoying.
you know what else? You know what else I hate about that real fast?
What?
Sometimes your map will tell you it's like, okay, X character can be found here, but sometimes they're not there depending on the time of day.
Oh, you actually
And
know
so
what?
it's
You know what you're
what?
supposed to do there? They're actually somewhere else, and you're supposed to do like
Oh yeah,
it's
heart to
basically
heart
like
mission.
the equivalent of a support in Fire Emblem. So
Yeah, but it's still a freaking annoying, I think.
yeah,
Like why it's because they don't it comes to my biggest gripe about the game. They don't explain anything to you. I'm not asking
yeah,
the game to hold my hand the whole time around, but they never once tell you. They say, "Okay, here's how you fight." All right, go. And that's it.
yeah.
There's like nothing.
I remember when I put it in Christmas Day, and I started playing, and I was just like, I got into my first battle, and I was like, okay, what? Like, what's going on here? And I mean, which is weird because I played the first game and I beat it. So but to still be confused, I was like, what is all this? I don't understand. You know, I had to just basically figure it out as I went along.
Yeah, it's
Like, I don't even think
the game demands a lot from the player.
I don't even think
to
the
figure
game.
it out on your own.
I don't think it ever explained soul voices. I had to look it up
No.
and figure it out on my own. It's like, what? Why? That's really important, you know?
Yeah, it also, believe it or not, if I remember correctly, it never explains like arts at all. You have them down there already when you start the game. You already have them on your command bar, but it never tells you like what they're just there.
Yeah,
It's like,
I mean,
oh,
I didn't have that problem because I played the first game. So
Yeah, but like I kind of expected them to say like, okay, this is used like this, like
Yeah.
I guess in just other traditional RPG fashion.
yeah.
I mean
on Reddit, I heard a lot of people, well, not a lot of people, but there were a couple threads like a little bit after Christmas that was like, I don't understand the combat in this game at all, and they didn't understand auto attacking, which is like,
yeah,
I mean,
because they don't really tell you.
yeah, but I mean, since I played the first game, but also because I played World of Warcraft for a little while, I kind of understood that already. So
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
it's
I
hard.
played
It's hard for
World
me
of
to say.
Warcraft too, so-
Yeah, I mean, because it's very MMO like. It's just this game is basically Nintendo's MMO.
Yeah, the closest thing they have to. It does have the online features as well.
Mm-hmm.
But since this video is coming up on 35 minutes,
Good.
what would you say is your kind of closing thoughts for the game? And if you want, you can give it a score, even though you haven't finished yet. But I think I kind of know somewhere in the range where I would put it. But you can talk about what you think about that game, and sort of you could also say what was your score for the first game.
Oh, the first game is a 10 out of 10 for sure. Maybe
That's what I figured,
maybe
yeah.
a 9 out of 10 if I'm going to be like really critical about it. But I just see that's why it's really hard for me to talk about this game without comparing it to the first one. I mean, watch this video and take a shot every time I say the first game, you know? Because...
The first game. The first one.
But it's because I love it so much, and I think it's Nintendo's best IP they put out in years. And
yeah, I think the acquisition of the Xeno series was pretty good
fantastic.
for them.
Yeah. It's like I'll just say Cross is still a good game. I mean, we pretty much spent the whole video complaining about it, but
Yeah,
I mean,
kinda.
it's still good. Like, it's still fun. And if you're willing to ignore small flaws that we mentioned before, you'll have a lot of fun with it, especially if you like exploring. I mean, that's not really my thing, and that's not really your thing either. So that's why we're kind of just like, But if you like open world games and you're interested in one that's more like an RPG than the other kind of games that are out there, then you should definitely get it. This game is still one of the must-have games you probably should have on the Wii U, just because there's so much content. And if you enjoy it or not, like I know we complained about the quest and stuff, but MMOs are popular, so there's an audience out there that just loves that stuff, I guess. But I mean, the story is better than I thought it was going to be, even though it's not on par with the first game. I mean, there were still some parts that surprised me. I want to beat it to know what happens at the end, so it's still catching me a little bit. I mean, I just say it again. The game is still a good game. It's just not as. I mean, it's like the first game is a masterpiece. This game's just like a good game. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Like that's my feelings about the game.
I know what you're saying.
I mean, I wouldn't probably give it a score because I can't really decide. Because I'm just so conflicted about the game, you know, because I keep wanting to compare it to the other one. Mm-hmm. So I don't really want to give it a score, but that's all right. If you have a Wii U, get the game is what I'm saying.
So since I can't really compare it to the first game,
shot.
I guess my opinion of it would be what?
I said take a shot.
I almost thought you said shulk at first.
Take a shulk.
So I guess my opinion would take a shulk. Feel it would be a little different. I also agree, though. I know we spent a majority of this video kind of picking at the game, talking about the flaws it has, but I think that's because, at least, there are things that the game does well enough that you almost don't talk about because it's expected that they do that well. Coming from my own background, like when we're doing a play as an actor, when you're doing things well, the director doesn't really tell you a whole lot. They don't say, "Hey, that was really good. Do that." They just tell all the people who are doing things they're not supposed to be doing how to fix it.
Yeah.
And I think that was sort of the case with what we did in this video. Mm-hmm. We just kind of talked about the aspects that we don't really like about the game, or that the things that we weren't quite expecting, or that we wanted out of the game that we may or may not have gotten from it. Mm-hmm. I do think it's a game that if you have a Wii U, you should own it. The only spoiler we put for the game was the one in Chapter 5, so we can try to skip that or something.
I think, didn't we talk about another one maybe? No, maybe we talked about that beforehand, so never mind.
Yeah, the only spoiler we talked about for this game was the one from Chapter 5. Otherwise, there were spoilers for the Wii game, but I think that's fine.
Maybe, yeah. We'll have to just say.
I mean, I'll put this in the title. So, with that being said, like I said, it's a good game. It is by no the flaws it has are not detrimental enough to turn it from a good game to a bad game.
Yeah.
I would probably give it. The ending of the story is going to be a big game breaker for me because endings in general can make or break things. Just that's my personal opinion. Mm-hmm. When I'm reviewing a story, be it a TV show or a book or whatever, the ending is paramount to my overall score for the game.
Oh yeah, like to give an example,
whatever it may be.
Bravely Default is a good game, but the ending, I mean, maybe story wise it's okay, but for the ending and for the gameplay at least was just so terrible. I hated it. It definitely lowered my score of that game.
Yeah.
And the story, the story wasn't like fantastic enough. Like the ending wasn't fantastic enough to make it worthwhile. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So
I think in a lot of things, for me, you need to close out strong. If you open strong and you close out weak, it hurts. It hurts hardcore. So with that being said, as it stands right now, I'd probably give Cross about an 8 out of 10. Because like I said, it is a good game. It's a very good game. One that it tells, even with all the complaints we've had, it tells you how solid of a game it is when both Keero and I have put at least 50 hours into it already.
Oh yeah,
that tells you something.
I think I'm getting close to 80 right now. Actually,
yeah, so clearly that tells you it's not bad. Otherwise, we wouldn't have ever made it that far to begin with.
Right.
So those are kind of our not so brief opinions about Xenoblade Chronicles Cross for Wii U. It's certainly one that you're going to want to get your hands on, because like many Nintendo games, there's a good chance this will become hard to find in the future.
Oh, definitely.
So you got to be careful about that. But this video is extremely long, so hopefully it won't take super duper long to upload. We will get these videos uploaded within the next few days or so. But I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. Do you have anything you want to say before we close out?
First game.
Oh, first game. Oh, yeah. Check out the first game. No. Check out Keero's channel. Is this going to be your first video you put up? Or do you already have one? I don't know.
I have some Mario Maker videos, but they're just like...
That's right.
You know?
So this will be the first, like, legit one, I guess.
Yeah.
So check out his channel. I know you plan on doing a lot more in the future, just whenever the timing arises.
Yeah, when I actually freaking beat this game.
Yeah. And so we plan on doing more videos together in the future. So if you want to see those, leave some comments. This roughly the same video is going to be on his channel. So leave comments here or there, wherever you want. Let us know what you want to see, what you'd like to see from the two of us or just one of us, whatever works. And with that, we'll catch you guys next time.